Get ready for a thrilling ride into the dark and gripping world of Korean cinema. Today, we're diving into the top 10 greatest Korean thriller movies ever made, packed with suspense, twists, and unforgettable moments. Let's jump right in. Coming in at number 10, Burning. The story follows Lee Jong-soo, a young, aspiring novelist from a working-class background who runs into his childhood neighbor Shin Hae-mi by chance in Seoul. The two quickly reconnect, and before she leaves for a trip to Africa, Jong-soo agrees to feed her cat. When Hae-mi returns, she introduces Jong-soo to Ben, a mysterious, wealthy man she met during her travels. Jong-soo becomes increasingly jealous of Ben's effortless confidence and his growing closeness with Hae-mi. When Ben reveals a strange, dark hobby, and Hae-mi suddenly disappears, Jong-soo's suspicion and obsession take over. The narrative follows his uncertain search for the truth. Coming in at number 9, Mother. The story revolves around an unnamed, fiercely devoted mother who runs a small herbal medicine shop and lives with her adult son, Do-jun, who has a mild intellectual disability and memory problems. When a young girl is found murdered in their small town, Do-jun is arrested based on circumstantial evidence. Convinced of her son's innocence and frustrated by the disinterested authorities, the mother launches her own investigation to find the real killer. As she delves deeper into the town's secrets, she uncovers disturbing truths and is forced to make impossible choices. The narrative follows her relentless, heartbreaking pursuit of justice at any cost. Coming in at number 8, A Bittersweet Life. The story follows Sun-woo, a loyal and efficient hitman who manages a luxurious hotel restaurant owned by a powerful crime boss named Kang. When Kang suspects his young mistress Hee-soo is having an affair, he orders Sun-woo to shadow her during his business trip. Sun-woo discovers her with another man, but, surprisingly moved by her beauty and his own lonely existence, decides to spare them both, violating his boss's trust. When Kang learns of this betrayal, he orders his men to execute Sun-woo. Barely surviving the attack, Sun-woo escapes and vows brutal revenge against everyone who wronged him, leading to a violent confrontation. Coming in at number 7, The Wailing. The story is set in the small, remote mountain village of Gokseong, where a mysterious Japanese stranger arrives and unsettling events begin to occur. A bizarre illness spreads through the community, causing villagers to become violently deranged and murder their own families. Jong-gu, a bumbling local policeman, investigates the strange occurrences but becomes personally devastated when his young daughter Hyo-jin falls victim to the infection. Desperate to save her, he seeks help from a shaman and encounters a mysterious woman in white who warns him about the Japanese man's true nature. The narrative follows his harrowing journey through confusion, faith, and terror. Coming in at number 6, Train to Busan. The story is set on a high-speed KTX train traveling from Seoul to Busan as a mysterious viral outbreak sweeps across South Korea. Sok-woo, a cynical fund manager and divorced father, is taking his young daughter Suan to see her mother for her birthday. Unbeknownst to them, an infected woman boards the train just before departure, quickly turning passengers into aggressive, fast-moving zombies. As the infection spreads rapidly through the cars, the surviving passengers must fight to stay alive while making their way to the only remaining safe zone in Busan. The narrative follows their desperate journey through a country collapsing into chaos. Coming in at number 5, Parasite. The story revolves around the Kim family, who live in a cramped, semi-basement apartment and struggle to make ends meet by folding pizza boxes. Through a stroke of luck, the son Ki-woo secures a tutoring job with a wealthy Park family who live in a stunning house designed by a famous architect. One by one, the Kims cunningly replace the Park's existing staff, infiltrating their household under false identities. However, their carefully constructed plan begins to unravel when they discover a dark secret hidden within the house. The narrative follows the explosive collision between two families separated by an invisible but unbreakable class barrier. Coming in at number 4, I Saw the Devil. The story follows Kim Soo-hyun, a highly trained National Intelligence Service agent whose fiancé becomes the latest victim of a psychopathic serial killer. Consumed by grief and rage, Soo-hyun vows to hunt down the murderer, but he does not seek simple justice. Instead, he embeds a tracking device inside the killer and begins a brutal game of cat and mouse. Rather than killing him outright, Soo-hyun releases him repeatedly, wanting to make him suffer as much as possible. The narrative follows this twisted pursuit as the lines between hunter and hunted blur, leading both men down a path of mutual destruction. Coming in at number 3, The Chaser. The story follows Jung-ho, a former detective turned pimp who begins losing his female employees under mysterious circumstances. When one of his girls fails to return from a house call, he suspects a client is actually selling them rather than just paying for their services. As he searches the streets, he discovers a pattern of disappearances connected to a quiet, unassuming man. When a minor car accident leads to a chase, Jung-ho finds himself pursuing a psychopathic killer through the dark streets of Seoul. The narrative follows his desperate race against time to find his missing employee before she becomes the next victim. Coming in at number 2, Oldboy. The story revolves around Oh Dae-soo, an ordinary businessman who is mysteriously kidnapped and imprisoned in a private hotel room for 15 years without any explanation. During his captivity, he learns to fight from watching television and begins digging a tunnel through the wall to escape. One day, he is suddenly released onto a rooftop, given a cell phone, wallet, and a challenge to discover why he was imprisoned. Determined to uncover the truth and exact revenge, he embarks on a violent quest that leads him to a sushi bar, where he meets a young chef who agrees to help him solve the mystery of his confinement. Coming in at number 1, Memories of Murder. The story is set in a small provincial town in Korea during the late 1980s, where 2 local detectives are assigned to investigate the brutal murders of several women. Without proper forensic knowledge or experience, they rely on instinct and aggressive interrogation tactics, often pressuring innocent suspects. A detective from Seoul joins the case and attempts to bring a more methodical approach. As the body count rises, the detectives become increasingly desperate and frustrated. The narrative follows their obsessive pursuit of an elusive killer who seems to vanish as suddenly as he appeared, leaving behind a haunting legacy of unanswered questions. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the content, be sure to hit that like button, leave a comment with your thoughts, and don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an update.